नमस्ते, आप सभी का स्वागत है। वेलकम एवरीवन टू दिस एपिसोड 104 ऑफ द आस्क मी एनीथिंग। आज 104वां अंक है हमारा। और बिफोर वी स्टार्ट आई वुड लाइक टू रिमाइंड यू, आप सभी को याद दिलाऊं, जो 1 और 2 अप्रैल को न्याय मंच की इवेंट है नोएडा में, उसके बारे में। ये इवेंट है अवेकनिंग द क्षत्रिय। क्षत्रिय को जागृत कर रहे हैं एक हिंदू जागृति सम्मेलन के माध्यम से। और इसमें जो प्रमुख वक्ता है वो आपके सामने आप देख सकते हैं। आनंद रंगनाथन जी, रमेश शिंदे जी, एस्तर धनराज, होमेंद्र रत्नू, यति नरसिंहानंद जी, कपिल मिश्रा, पुष्पेंद्र कुलश्रेष्ठ, विष्णु शंकर जैन, मैं भी हूँ इसमें, और तुफैल जी भी हैं, नीरज अत्री जी भी हैं, और आनंद राजाध्यक्ष जी इसमें दिख रहे हैं। इसके अतिरिक्त और भी कई प्रमुख वक्ता है। इसके लिए आप जो सामने देख रहे हैं, ये एक क्राउड फंडिंग चल रहा है, और जो टारगेट है 30 लाख का, उसमें अभी 15 लाख ही हुए हैं और 15 दिन से कम बचे हैं। तो इसलिए आवश्यकता है आप सभी लोगों को भी जागृत होने की। जो मिनिमम खर्चा है उसको निकालने की व्यवस्था तो हो जाए। कंट्रीब्यूशन लिंक और रजिस्ट्रेशन लिंक दोनों ही डिस्क्रिप्शन में दिए हुए हैं। तो आइए, लेट्स मूव विथ टुडेज प्रोग्राम, आस्क मी एनीथिंग। महेश मधुर जी, thank you as always, and I have to thank you 4 times because your contribution is 50 into 4, so 4 times and unlimited times. Thank you, will ever be grateful. Somali Chatterjee, namaste Sanjay ji, what can our government do to stop human trafficking with immediate effect? Uplift common and BPL Indians towards respectful modes of income, added with continuous learning and development. Well, that almost sounds like the entire manifesto of government. And all governments come up with manifestos to do exactly these things. The only thing out of the ordinary in this, so how to stop human trafficking immediately. And to stop human trafficking immediately, I have some very simple methodologies, but the government seems to have got a cold feet after the Shaheen Bagh incident, and they are not doing anything to really go after the human trafficking part. After all, the human trafficking also follows the same modules as the jihadis do or the terrorists do. All of them, they need safe harbor, they need logistics, they need money. And all of these funding channels can be detected, and I'm quite sure that the agencies would be having an idea. So all it requires is a political will to crack down. And it also requires will on our part to pressurize the government that we elected. That's even more important. Next. Sandeep Shukla, Pranam Gurudev from the Netherlands. Thank you. Thank you, Sandeep ji. Thank you. Namaskaram, Sanjay Garu. Jai Shriman Narayan. Jai Shriman Narayan. Prajwal ji. Somali Chatterjee suggesting setting up panel discussions across the country, especially in towns and villages, hosting eminent scientists, legal counsels, political and social analysts, army veterans towards empowerment of common people. Well, we do exactly that, and we do it virtually, though. And in today's day and age, I think virtually is as good as a physical discussion going across the country. Maybe my experience is that virtual discussions have even a greater audience. So we are doing that, but we are doing it virtually. Sir, if there is Dhaval, if there is Godi media, then Dhritarashtra media also. Do you agree? What do you think about the Karnataka election? Well, there are Dhritarashtres everywhere. The problem with today's polity is that you don't have Dhritarashtra only in one camp, you have Dhritarashtras in both the camps. So you have to find out the Krishna and you have to send him in one camp so that he can send the Dhritarashtra from one camp back to the other one. So that one camp will have two Dhritarashtras and the other camp will be left with no Dhritarashtras. Next. Okay, what do you think of about Karnataka election? That was one part. Karnataka election, the last survey we have done, we gave uh, about equal seats to Congress and BJP, probably more to, in fact, more to Congress. Congress will get about 100 seats, BJP will get about 90 seats, according to the survey that we did about 2 months back. We haven't updated it yet, but we will be updating it soon. And that leaves about 25-30 seats with the JDS. So they will play the balancing role. Next. Rekha Rao. Very sad days for Islam. Pakistan bordering on irrelevance. MBS rules on Ramzan practices. The guns of Mullah Maulana's Gupkar gang falling silent. Beginning of Islam end. Let's not count our chickens till the eggs are hatched. There's a long way to go. Next. Next gen Bharat. Bangladeshi illegals are occupying all forest in India. Not all forest. They're doing it in some places like Assam and all. Not all forest. Next. Shiva Satya Pranam in Telangana. BRS is in trouble. Will BJP do backdoor deals or genuinely try to make the state a strong Hindutva bastion given the potential? Well, as of now, they seem to be going the whole hog. But I still have my doubts whether they will be able to win the state elections. They might be able to increase their seat share from 4 to 7 or 8 in the Lok Sabha elections. But as far as the state elections are concerned, I think TRS or BRS still holds all the aces. Next. Mohit Shah, achievement of Modi, Muslim appeasement, highest inflation, weakest Indian rupee, and playing victim card. Vote for Bismillah Jihad Party. Wow, Modi ji, Mohit Shah ji. I think you need to make uh, proper comparison. These when you mention all these things without comparing it with what is happening all around the world, I would say India handled COVID the best. There is absolutely no disagreement on it now anywhere in the world. There are things that one should be proud of as well. Blind Modi bashing doesn't help. Yes, positive criticism where it is deserved is required, and we do it. but we do not believe in blind Modi bashing. Let's be let's put Jaipur dialogues views very clearly over here. Harsh Verma, your view on caste-based reservations as it discriminates general caste from right to equal opportunities. Well, as far as this particular question is concerned, then you have to go by the definition of equality as given by the Supreme Court, and of course, as discussed in the Constituent Assembly as well. Because what they say is that equality among unequals is no equality. That is the system that is being followed, and therefore some positive discrimination between two unequals is justified. That is the view of the Honorable Supreme Court. That is the law. Next, Dhaval Seshpal, how much impact does Dilip Mandal have on ground? Zero. Absolutely zero. I don't know why people do not engage him, because whatever he talks is absolute nonsense. Whenever I try and counter him, the guy just goes and blocks me. So that's what he does best. He doesn't have any logical answer to anyone. But all of you should keep countering him. Don't let him get a free pass. Naman Panchal, SD sir, does Confucianism, Taoism, Shintoism, pre-Islamic Arabia, and pre-Christian Europe share deep roots with Sanatan Dharma? Are these all polytheistic religions where the expression of Sanatan Vedic Dharma in their respective regions? First of all, this word polytheism, I don't think is a correct description with regard to Sanatan Dharma. We have different manifestations of the one Brahmas. So it is not polytheism. It is basically, if you want to put it in English, is basically monism with different manifestations. Monism with many, many appearances. Uh, Confucianism, Taoism, Shintoism, they definitely do share certain things with Sanatan Dharma. Pre-Christian Europe and Islamic Arabia, they were nature worshippers, but there is no record of their having imbibed anything from the Sanatana Shastras. Okay, so that I think answers your question. Shiva Satya, Guruji in West as well as here, we see an ugly leftist nexus between polity, bureaucracy, academia, judiciary, and media. What can be done to undo this? The only way you can undo this is to develop the narrative among non left people. And that is very difficult, because what is happening is that most people with high IQ, they somehow tend to get attracted to the leftist point of view because they camouflage themselves as progressive. Therefore, all the people who are here, they have to work twice or thrice as hard to not only develop the narrative, build it from the ground up, but also to spread it. So we have to work harder. As far as our roots are concerned, our roots are solid. And in India, we are in a unique position to counter them through our own Shastras, the wisdom that is contained in our Shastras. Look at how Swami Vivekananda did it, and he did it totally from within our Shastras. Even on the ground of science, he could engage the West and win them over. Nikola Tesla is a prime example. Therefore, I think we need to read up our darshanas a lot more, especially the Vaisheshik and the Nyaya branch. And using the Nyaya and Vaisheshik branch and the knowledge of Sanskrit, especially the Vyakarana, Nirukta, and Nighantu part, we need to study that hard and then bring that knowledge forward, bring that knowledge forth, and use it to counter these leftist narratives which are completely dogmatic, based on a binary logic that doesn't hold. Because ultimately, we have to use the logic of science, which is based on objectivity, which is supposed to be based on verifiability, universality, repeatability, and falsifiability. Next, Mayank Sharma. Dikshitji, do you believe Kejriwal, Rahul, Sonia Gandhi, Vadra will ever be behind bars, or is it just a facade? Uh, to be very frank, I don't have an answer to this. Because the cases that are there against Kejriwal, there's no cases against Kejriwal as yet. If Kejriwal gets trapped in the present case, which is going against Sisodia and all, then there is high probability that Kejriwal will go behind bars. As far as Rahul, Sonia Gandhi, and Vadra, the cases that we have against them are all very weak. And those are also private cases. There isn't anything the government is doing. I think the government doesn't do it because they do not want to be labeled as uh, they don't want to be seen as victimizing these people, because they would get sympathy and it might get translated into votes, as happened in Indira Gandhi's time. I think BJP is deeply scarred by the Indira Gandhi experience, and deep down somewhere they dread the situation where they arrest any of these Johnnies and they end up getting a lot of sympathy. Chintan Oja, why Marathas did not fight in 14th, 15th, 16th centuries against Deccan Sultans? Rumors are they helped Deccan Sultans against Vijayanagar. There was no Hindutva consciousness at that point of time. And Vijayanagar, the fall of Vijayanagar has doesn't have this as a cause at all. The fall of Vijayanagar is rooted in many other reasons. And one of the major reasons was the foolhardiness of Ramaraya in entrusting some very important functions of his military to foreigners, especially the Muslims. And it was the Gilani brothers who ditched them, and that battle was actually being won. They were on the verge of winning that battle. It was almost won. And the Gilani brothers, with two important cavalry units, defected to the other side in the name of Islam. So the destruction of Vijayanagar doesn't have anything to do with the Maratha helping the Bahmanis and others. All foreign invaders have employed Indians in their army. So if Bahmanis had some, it was no exception. अमन जैन, आप आईएएस में कौन से बैच के पास आउट हैं सर? 1986. My batch is 1986. Pramod Kumar, shouldn't the government block wire, the print, etc., who are anti-national and spread hate and fake news? If porn sites can be blocked, then these anti-India media should also be blocked without any doubt. I don't think it serves any purpose blocking them. So ultimately, so who is reading them? They have their own captive audience. Beyond that, nobody reads them. They are doing well because they get funding. and that funding is slowly being choked, especially through the regulation of the NGOs and bringing in new FCRA rules and also now bringing new PMLA rules. Next. Dhaval Sejpal, would Congress be able to retain Chhattisgarh in 2023? As of now, according to our surveys, they are ahead. Not by very much, but right now they are ahead in Chhattisgarh. Himanshu Srivastav, when will government bring dual citizenship for NRI so we can vote and support our respective parties? Dual citizenship is a double-edged sword. If you look at what is happening in Pakistan, one of the major causes of Pakistan's elite capture is the double citizenship, the dual citizenship. Oh, the corrupt elite, they manage to siphon off a lot of funds in the name of dual citizenship, and they have their families based out there in the West. And their only purpose to stay in Pakistan and do politics is to enrich themselves and siphon off the money to their families who are settled abroad. And settle abroad, but having Pakistan passport as well. So I would never recommend dual citizenship to the NRIs. And well, you have all kind of NRIs. Look at the Khalistanis; they are also NRIs. Chintan Oja, what was the condition of princely states? And did 500 princely states' economies were also destroyed by the British? People living in these states suffered less than people under direct British rule. Well, if you have 500 princely states, then definitely you will have different situations in 500 princely states. But some of the leading and the more enlightened princely states, they had light taxes and they did a lot of welfare. They did a lot of welfare because in the Indian tradition, the Raja is supposed to be Praja Vatsal. And if you look at some of these states, I'll give you a few examples. States like Travancore, states like Mysore, Baroda, Holkar, all these states were enlightened states. Jamnagar, of course, Gujarat had the maximum number of princely states, but Baroda was a big state. And many states in Rajputana, including Jaipur, they were very, very benign states. Bikaner, for instance, Bikaner was a very enlightened state. And they treated their people quite well. And they were not half as oppressive as the areas directly under the British rule. The levels of education, the best levels of education in independent India, top four: number one, Travancore; number two, Mysore; number three, Baroda. Okay, the bottom three, the bottom three: UP, Bihar, Bengal. Can you imagine? All three British provinces directly ruled by the British. And the best three, all princely states. So I think princely states, a lot of them actually preserved dharma. They actually preserved dharma. And this secularization of all the princely states by absorbing them in and then abolishing their privy purses, that has had a deleterious effect. Next. जय भारत जय पंजाब पंजाब 4766 80s 90s की तरह इस बार दुख भोगेगा या बचेगा भाई मैं तो पॉजिटिव रहता हूँ और मैं ये मानता हूँ कि हमने जो है नैरेटिव के लेवल पे कुछ विचार विमर्श शुरू किया है। आप लोग सब लोग जुड़ेंगे तो बचेगा। नेक्स्ट, Diksha. So there is a Lucknow-based lawyer and YouTuber who makes nationalist videos. You mentioned about his hypocrisy in a tweet a few months ago. What do you think about him? You see, he has filed a case against me, so I'm not going to speak about it. What you can do is you can go on his timelines and you look at his YouTube videos from 2 years and 3 years back. Decide for yourself. Next. Neha Desai, Namaste sir. Islam was originated in Arab. People of India started following it after getting converted. And how Devaband and Barelvi sects were developed in India. Do Arabs recognize these sects? You see, Arabs do not recognize these sects because Arabs do not have the Hanafi branch of Islam. The Hanafi branch of Islam is entirely in Iran, uh, Central Asia, and the subcontinent. However, it has the maximum followers within the Islamic fold. And the Arabs, they follow mostly Shafi'i, or in Saudi Arab and such places, they follow the Hanbali. Then in Africa and all, they follow Maliki and things. So the converts here, they are more fanatic, and then they try to out of their inferiority complex, they try to look more Arab than Arabs themselves, and Arabs laugh at them basically. Next, पारस, सवाल यह है कि क्या राहुल गांधी डेफेमेशन के केस में अरेस्ट हो सकता है, क्योंकि उन्होंने एंटी नेशनल बयान दिया है कैम्ब्रिज में जाके। डेफेमेशन किसका है? या तो देयर इज नो केस ऑफ डेफेमेशन बिकॉज डेफेमेशन इज पर्सनल, अगेंस्ट द नेशन इज सेडिशन, and but the sedition law, I think very high standard of proof, so it will be difficult to prove it against him. But he's definitely violated parliamentary privileges. If the parliament wants, and the parliament is serious and can take up the privileges issue, where is actually denigrated the parliament, made fun of parliament, and also speaking against the nation after having taken an oath is violated the parliamentary oath. So there is a very strong parliamentary privileges case against him. That is if they want to pursue it. Next. Guruji, Google Discover feed in mobile is based on our searches. If logged in, I observed. If not logged in, the feed is predominantly leftist. When will BJP up their game, and do they even have one? Well, you have to got to learn to game the AI to your benefit, and why shouldn't you be logged in? That is the question. So our effort should be to educate everybody to keep logged in, because that way their own preferences will show up on the Google according to the AI. This is what I also say about Chat GPT, because Chat GPT is programmable. So if you are talking to Chat GPT and feeding him something, that will get incorporated. If you simply shun Chat GPT and only leftists are gaming it, then leftists will be successful with it. So we need to engage. We need to engage. Next. Humphreys or K people often mention their prophet's name is mentioned in Bhavishya Puran. Is there any authenticity? No, Bhavishya Puran is most of it is a fake Puran. Yuri Bezanov, how sure are you the Paspandas will leave Islam and revert back to Hinduism given the opportunity? Well, the way BJP is going about it, it's not going to happen. because if there is a fault line, then you have to have a definite plan to exploit that fault line. If you keep giving them all the incentives to stay in Islam, why will they change? You have to give them incentives to change. Right now, they are happy doing their taqleed of their sheikhs and sayyids. And the BJP is actually encouraging it. Instead of taking note of their deep disaffection against the Ashrafs, using Ashrafs to woo Pasmandas. Nothing can be more foolhardy than that. The Muslim Rashtriya Manch that has been tasked to get Pasmandas in is itself dominated, almost monopolized by the Ashraf. The Ashraf will never let Pasmanda get an independent identity. That's a basic thing that the BJP planners are not understanding. And in fact, uh, some very, very positive things have started happening. But then they took it upon themselves to do it and they've spoiled it. Rajat, why were Modi, Yogi, BJP guys meeting Bill Gates, friend of sex trafficker Epstein, who visited his island 37 times? Gates also met RBI governor and other famous Indians. Globalist CBDC incoming in India, Modi implementing Great Reset in India. Shame on these traitors. Well, they are not exactly traitors. I mean, just beating Bill Gates doesn't mean that you become a traitor. You have to engage. You have to engage with the worst of them. You can't isolate yourself in this world. You have to engage. You have to engage with Bill Gates. Maybe even if you have to engage with George Soros, also you have to talk to him, and you have to beat him down in his own narrative. Because if you do not engage, you do not understand their plans. So I am all for engagement. But engagement doesn't mean that you bow down and you fall all over them. That's not that. That would mean that you don't have your back straight. Look at Dr. Jayashankar, how he deals with the West. That's the approach. Engage with them and tell them on their face what you think of them in very diplomatic, suave, sophisticated language. Next Gen Bharat, why not any organization to represent Hindu temples, and how much of Hindu temples land lost since 1947 NRC? There are many organizations like Mr. T.R. Ramesh, Mr. Ramesh Shinde. All these people are working in this field and they have their organizations and they're doing fantastic work. They're actually saving them. Next. सोवियत संघ की तरह अमेरिका के विघटन की कितनी संभावना आप देखते हैं? नहीं, मैं तो नहीं देखता अमेरिका के विघटन की संभावना। अमरीकी हेजिमनी के खत्म होने की संभावना अवश्य देखता हूँ। संतोष जी, धन्यवाद आपको बहुत-बहुत। धवल शेषपाल, why has the government not amended the Waqf Act? Don't know. I am appearing against the Waqf Act in a couple of days. So we have to do it on our own. We don't depend on the government for everything. We hope the government does, but if it doesn't do, then we will do it. Next. राजकुमारी सुरानी, संजय जी, क्या अमित मालवीय की परफॉर्मेंस में सुधार आया है? आई फील सो. क्या करंट एक्शंस ऑन करप्शन विल reach to its logical end by 2024 election? मैंने अमित मालवीय जी को पिछले 15-20 दिनों में सुना नहीं है, तो मैं आपसे क्षमा चाहूँगा। इस प्रश्न का उत्तर मैं बाद में कभी दूंगा देख के। अर्पिता अग्रवाल सर, डी-डॉलराइजेशन के बाद इंडिया रुपी स्ट्रांग होगा या वीक? स्ट्रांग होगा। और अभी से हमें क्या स्टेप्स लेने चाहिए? अंकित शाह जी बता रहे हैं, गोल्ड में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए। नेक्स्ट टाइम के कैलिफोर्निया में $900 तक की चोरी माफ़ है, ऐसा आपने बताया था। तो क्या एक बार में $900 के लिए है, जीवन भर में कुल $900 के लिए है? एक विज़िट में $900। और मैं आपको बताऊँ समथिंग वेरी फ़नी, कैलिफोर्निया में जितने भी आइटम्स लोग अब रखते हैं रिटेल वाले, उन सब की प्राइस $900 से ऊपर कर दी है उन्होंने। आप छोटी से छोटी चीज़ जो पहले $1 में मिलती थी, वो भी अब $900 में आपको मिलेगी, 901 में। तो तू डाल-डाल मैं पात-पात। और उसके बाद वो डिस्काउंट दे देते हैं आपको, ये बात अलग है। जब आप जाते हैं टिलर पे, तो आपको डिस्काउंट मिल जाता है। RM, everybody talks about getting POK back. Nobody talks about the baggage of 4 million termites that come alongside. Your expert opinion, please. I agree with this. I mean, this is a question that I have discussed with Amjad Ayub Mirza, who is an activist from POK, and he has some solutions. I'm not sure how much they will work, but definitely you could look at those episodes, hear those episodes, where I have asked this very question to Amjad Ayub Mirza. Yuri Bezmenov, please invite me to talk about New World Order. I have given my identity to Vibhuti ji. Okay, I'll ask Vibhuti ji. Next, the Jaipur dialogues. Oh, sorry. Ashutosh, namaste, sir. What will be the effects of inevitable imminent end of Pakistan on Pakistan state of mind that has origin, support, and deep root on Indian soil? I'm sure it's going to be quite cataclysmic. It is going to be quite traumatic. And the Mullah Maulana lot will find it difficult to come out of it. It will be this similar situation as happened after 1857. Because rows and rows of Maulanas were actually hanged and impaled. I think I'm told that for miles, if you went towards Delhi, then miles before Delhi, you would find these Maulanas being hung from the trees. So that would be there, but then you have to have a visionary leadership to drive their advantage home. It can be driven home, but then they need to have a clarity of purpose. I think they can have a clarity of purpose, and why not have a purpose of having ghar wapasi of as many people as possible. It can happen. But the problem is again, the RSS is confused. It says that Islam is great. Some Muslims may be misguided. So we, all of us, need to go to RSS and tell them. Next. Rahul Raj, next population census, rising Muslim population is biggest threat to India. No, I disagree. I have disabused a lot of these quasi population expert. They don't know much about the population science. Next. Benzene. In India, in Christ conversion, what roles do girls play? They are in the forefront of those Changai Sabhas, those healing Notankis. You know those he, those healing frauds that take place? They're mostly done through women only. Pastor is the ringmaster, and all the actors are there. About 90% of them are all women. Next. Ashish, namaskar, Guruji. सल्तनत काल एंड मुगल काल में ईद के समय हिंदू खासकर स्त्रियों के लड़कियों के साथ क्या व्यवहार होता था? बहुत बुरा व्यवहार होता था। वो भाग जाते थे उस टाइम पे, रमज़ान के टाइम पे। क्योंकि ये अलबेरूनी वगैरह की अगर आप किताबें पढ़ें तो उनमें तो ये लिखा हुआ है कि ईद के टाइम पे उनको लड़कियां गिफ्ट की जाती थी, हिंदू लड़कियां। तो ईद के आसपास वो लूट-मार शुरू कर देते थे लड़कियों की। तो इसलिए ईद से या रमज़ान से पहले बहुत सारी हिंदू पॉपुलेशन जंगलों में भाग जाया करती थी और वहाँ महीने 2 महीने बिताने के बाद फिर आया करती थी। बहुत कष्ट सहे हैं हमारे पूर्वजों ने। नेक्स्ट, शिव सत्य। गुरुजी, बीजेपी may not act blatantly Hindutwadi, nevertheless Article 370, Ram Mandir, CAA bill, Statue of Unity, PFI ban all happened. It may be less intense than we like, but Modi is no Congressy. Yes, that I agree. Modi is no Congressy. Maybe he is not doing as much as we expect him to do, and he does things like you mentioned CAA bill. The CAA bill was notified as an act and has not been acted upon. So that shows some kind of, I should say, a lack of willpower. That shouldn't have happened. And even in Jammu and Kashmir, we've seen many good things being done, but then a lot of this appeasement of the jihadis, separatists, still goes on. So one wonders whether this kind of a habit of taking one step forward and two steps back has become habitual with the BJP, especially in the post 2019 dispensation. Anurag Bari, sir, when can we expect your new book? Are all religions the same? Thanks for awakening the Hindus. You are a role model, Sirji. Thank you, Anurag ji. I've finished about one third of it, and the work is now on. So maybe another 2 months or so, I should be able to give the draft to the publisher. RM, can Khujli win anything beyond Delhi and Punjab? Or is the chameleon already exposed enough? I don't think he can win anything beyond these two. Next. भारत में अजान कैसे बंद होंगे सर? सरकारों के ऊपर दबाव डाल के। दिनेश कुमार, आपका शिष्य भागनगर से, आपको प्रणाम, धन्यवाद आपको। मेरा पहला प्रश्न आपका, अखबार के प्रदीप सिंह को क्यों नहीं बुला रहे हो? वो अब कहीं नहीं जा रहे हैं। उनको वो देख रहा हूँ बहुत समय से। मैंने उनको बुलाया था कई बार, फिर उन्होंने रिस्पॉन्स नहीं दिया, तो फिर मैंने बंद कर दिया। मेरा दूसरा प्रश्न, आज आपने रिजवान अहमद के बारे में लिखा था, उसने किस लिए आप पर और नीरज अत्री पर क्रिमिनल केस किया है? आप उसके 2 और 3 वर्ष पुराने जो वीडियोज़ हैं स्वयं देख लें। थोड़ा कष्ट उठाएँ, स्वयं देख लें। Hannibal, can you talk about Maratha help to Cholas in Tanjore? A lot of Tamil history ignores it. I'm sorry, I haven't brushed the Chola history of late, so I would pass this. RM Sanjay sir, I fully support your views on not allowing dual citizenship, as we have enough traitors amongst us. Plus, the government allows OCI, which grants us more than enough privileges. Exactly. Exactly. If you really want to, if you're really so patriotic and you want to continue voting in India, retain your Indian passport. Maybe it will not give you a visa-free entry in as many countries as the US passport or the, say, other Western passports would, but then you will have the satisfaction of being able to vote in India. I would like to remind you that Sunil Mittal and Anil Agarwal They haven't given up their Indian citizenship. Next, Abhijit Sudhakar. Hello, Ji. We know Jati, Varna and difference between them and caste, but even Savarkar said they are one of seven shackles along with endogamy. He was for eradication of entire Jati Varna itself. Your view? I don't think Jati has had any adverse impact. Yes, Jati does promote Jativad, but then if you are educated and enlightened enough and have you imbibed the Sanatana worldview, then Jati is only one of the social securities for you, and nothing more than that. And Jatis in the past, you have to be very very conscious that it is the Jati and the system of endogamy that actually prevented large scale conversion. It was your fireball. So don't keep deriding it all the time. It has served a very useful function in the past, and moreover, everybody wants family identity. How can you ask people to erase a family identity? And as far as Varna is concerned, it is dynamic. You can read Manusmriti 10.65. All those people who go around criticizing Manusmriti have probably never read Manusmriti. Sandeep Jha, what is benefit of getting POK if final beneficiary is a peaceful community like already in JNK? I just mentioned it. I mean, there's a lot of discussion going on this. I am talking to POK people, asking them exactly the same questions, and they're coming up with answers. Ranjan Mohanty, congrats on 900K subscribers, 1 million soon. Hopefully, hopefully, with all your blessings. If all of you get together and ask five people, or rather, uh, inspire five people, not make some kind of a fake subscriber, but inspire five people to subscribe, I think we can become 1 million very, very soon. Bayal, USA's regime change operation in Pakistan gave them confidence. Government of India should take USA's matter seriously. What do you think? It should. We did the video on that. We were the first one to do it. We are the ones who have brought it into mainstream highlight. Next, Dhaval Sejwal, step to counter proselytizing in states like Andhra. One, of course, that can happen but will not happen is central government telling YSR, hold off. YSR cannot go against central government. He is not behind bars. He is not being nabbed by the CBI only because of the central government. But they limit their trade off to their vote in the parliament. I think they should increase their trade off and take it to the level of proselytization, because if they want to win Andhra, they should know that Christian converts are not going to vote for them. It is in their enlightened interest that they reconvert people, do Garvapsi, encourage Garvapsi groups. All these things they should be doing actively and not directly, staying behind the scene. Arun P. Sir, write history books covering 1000 to 2000 AD. It is being done by some people. Abbasji is doing it. We need not reinvent the wheel. All we do is that whoever is doing it, we provide them platform. Jai Bharat, Jai Punjab, PBCAF deployed is for G20 or for Amrit Pal post March 20. I can't say. I can't say. G20, of course, has been shifted from Amritsar. So they may be planning something, we don't know. अभी नाग हिमाचल प्रदेश में एक मंदिर के अंदर आरएसएस नेता की बेटी के लिए निकाह किया जा रहा है। क्या हो रहा है? बेटी तो नहीं थी वो, हिमाचल प्रदेश में वो वीएचपी का मैनेजमेंट का कोई मंदिर था और उसमें 2 मुसलमानों का निकाह पढ़ाया गया है, क्योंकि दैट कुड बी हायर्ड बाय एनीबॉडी। Imagine their foolhardiness. They are ready to give things on hire even for adharmic things. Next. Vishwa. Next. Vishwa Vasu. Sir, how can the government control or prevent the judicial overreach we are currently witnessing? I think the government has the option of refusing to accept their overreach and say that any orders that you pass which we think is judicial overreach, we will not comply with. They can't do anything to the government. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And you have seen that in the matter of the appointments, the rule or the law made by the judiciary is that you cannot return a name more than once. So the second time it is sent or it is reiterated, then he has to be notified. The government sent a whole lot of names back a second time. And even after being sent a third time, they still not made the appointments. And the honorables are only making empty noises. They know they can't do anything. शिव सिंह, लगता है मशरा पसमानदा में उलझे रहेंगे, जो कि मुसलमानों का अंदरूनी मामला है। मुसलमान बोल रहे हैं कि शिव सिंह जी, किसी का कोई अंदरूनी मामला नहीं है। मुसलमान आपको रोज जातिवाद में उलझाता है। तो आप कहेंगे कि साहब ये हमारा अंदरूनी मामला है, मुसलमान क्यों इसमें पड़ रहा है, क्रिश्चियन क्यों इसमें पड़ रहा है। ये टिट फॉर टैट अत्यंत आवश्यक है। शठे शाठ्यम समाचरेत, वरना ये तो आप सदैव डिफेंस करते रहेंगे और डिफेंस में बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। डिफेंस कभी भी ब्रीच हो सकती है। हो सकता है आप 50 बार अच्छी तरह से डिफेंस कर लें, एक बार भी ब्रीच हुई तो वो जो पृथ्वीराज का हाल हुआ था चौहान का, वो हो जाता है। इसलिए अटैक भी उतना ही आवश्यक है। नेक्स्ट, महीनाक भट्टाचार्य, अर्थ वाले बरखा दत्त को क्यों बुला लिया था? उनको पनौती चाहिए होगी ना, वो चाहते होंगे कि अर्थ जो है वो डिस्ट्रॉय हो जाए। विभांशु पटेल, is Chandragupta second the real Vikramaditya, or Vikramaditya is an imaginary position every winning king wants to take? Also not clear in NCRT books. It is very clear in my talks with Vedveer Arya ji, where he explains the chronology, and there are actually, according to him, 3 Chandraguptas. So please look at those episodes where we have discussed chronology with Vedveer Arya ji. His books also are very enlightening, very big books, but you could buy those books on chronology. Alok Kulkarni, please invite expert Spanish historian to JD to have sessions on Spanish reconquista of 700 years. In 711, there were 90% Muslims in Spain. Now only 2%. Not in 711. Not in 711. Spanish reconquest happened, I think, in 1298. I hope I am remembering the date right. Next. Shiva Satya, is Mohan Bhagwat ji senile, hypocrite, or clueless? We don't know. Can be a combination. Zaliluddin Alamgir. Sir, please invite Professor Kusum Lata Kedia to JD someday. I saw her on Satology channel. Okay, ji. Thank you. आसाम रियल हिंदू परसेंटेज कितनी होगी ऑन ग्राउंड? भाई रियल हिंदू परसेंटेज जितनी बताई गई उससे ज़्यादा ही होगी, क्योंकि मुसलमान हमेशा अपनी आबादी बढ़ा चढ़ा के दिखाता है, उसको अपनी संख्या बतानी होती है कि हम अधिक हैं, उनकी साइकोलॉजी समझिए। जो लोग भी बोलते रहते हैं कि वो कम बताते हैं, उनको इसका मतलब ये है कि इस्लामिक साइकोलॉजी की समझ नहीं है। ये पूरा का पूरा डॉक्यूमेंटेड है 1861 जब से शुरू हुआ, और जिन आंकड़ों पर जनसंख्या पंजाब की ज़्यादा बता दी गई, वो डॉक्टर कर रहे थे, 1931 से करना शुरू कर दिया था उन्होंने। सडन इंक्रीजेस कैसे हो जाती हैं भाई? अभी क्या हुआ जम्मू कश्मीर में 2011 में? तो जितनी भी है उसमें 2-4 परसेंटेज कम ही मानिएगा, ज़्यादा ना मानिएगा। Mridul Sharma ji, sir, please tell us about the case which Rizwan Ahmad put on you. No, we cannot discuss these cases out in the open. You can go on his timeline and search. Pratham Parashar, hi sir, can you make a video on foreign studies for village background students like me? Thank you very much, sir. Okay, the foreign studies are now coming to India. You don't need to go abroad and spend hard-earned money. The campuses already, Deakin universities come, a lot more, some Australian universities already coming. And soon others will follow suit because people will stop going to America. Krishnakant Kumar. Namaskar, sir. Scams in West Bengal about education is all over, but in PSC exams, the scam is more prevalent. Please highlight this issue, otherwise, West Bengal will be flooded with incompetent civil servant. Okay, sure. Next. Bajrang. So, don't you think sooner or later Hindu women should be given freedom to marry multiple women to propagate Dharma? We follow Sri Ram, but also Krishna. I have never understood how, in a one is to one situation, marrying more or marrying less matters, because if the population ratio of male is to female is roughly 1 to 1, and if one man marries more women, then there will be less for somebody else. Next. Abhijit Sudhakar, so please invite Shekhar Sen again. I put in top 5 of all your dialogues. Okay, ji. Thank you. Definitely. Next. Zafar death. Sikhs caused ruckus in 3 places in HP. What reason? They will create ruckus wherever they will not be dealt with firmly. Next. Aditya Tiwari, sir, namaskar. Your thoughts on recent court decision on Sabrimala about Malayala Brahmin priests. Also, please get JST back on channel again. Uh, no, the decision is by the government. It is now in the High Court. So the decision is awaited. Next. Shiv Singh, thanks Gurudev ji, Dhanyavad. Shiv Singh ji, CEO India, Namaskar sir. Is there a practical long-term solution to judicial overreach in our country in such a way that judicial independence is not affected? Well, the very fact that there is overreach means that the normal solutions are not working, and therefore there is only a hardened solution. There are no soft solutions anymore. Next, Praveen K. Sir, is there any organization like Dharmansh or Janaswa Viman who support ex-Muslims where we can contribute? What happened to Wasim Rizvi is not good. Well, let me find out whether they are supporting ex-Muslims. Then we can talk to you. Next. Alok Kulkarni in Emirate of Cordova in Spain, 750 AD to 1050 AD, Muslim population around 5-6 million, that is 90%. Spain, after 1100, Muslims started reducing in Spain, now 2%. I am not sure about the timelines because the Reconquista started, the first, it was Toledo that fell. That was, I think, in the 12th century. And later on, the final Reconquista happened only the end of 13th century. I hope I'm remembering right. Ankur Talk, can you get more and diverse guests to talk about de-dollarization and its effects? Okay, we will. Next. Vasu, sir, thank you for your wonderful work. Could you please share your thoughts on how to tackle the Khalistani issue in the long run? We have a whole playlist. That is the way to tackle. You look at our playlist with the Puneet Sani. Almost, I think, 15 videos there. Next. Bajrang, sir, I was talking about women from other religions. Can you get me his previous question? Don't you think Hindu men should be given? Okay. All right. Krishna Bhargav. Hi, sir. What is your worst case scenario for 2024 general elections? Hung Assembly. Next. Hung Parliament, sorry. अभिजीत सुधाकर सर मैकियावेली चाणक्य एंड सुंजू में कंपेयर करें तो क्या दिखता है who will win Chanakya of course because Chanakya is based on the solid foundation of dharma. Machiavelli is pure politics and Sun Tzu is mostly military tactics. Chanakya is one wholesome whole. Harman, so keep calling Sahil Adam and Sexuology on your channel. Adam has read all the books on Islam from top to bottom. Make ex-Muslims popular and make this a new fashion. Absolutely, I agree, Harmanji. Thank you. And before we end, once again reminding you, Awakening the Kshatriya, a summit for Hindu progress, Hindu Jagriti Sammelan, 1 और 2 अप्रैल न्याय मंच द्वारा नोएडा में. Please contribute, please register. With that, Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.